895-7957 is the number. We'll take your calls, but we wanted to play this because Adam Schefter, who apparently goes on Pat McAfee's show 2 times a day, every day. Listen to this exchange with regard to Brandon Aiyuk and the San Francisco 49ers.
They have wanted him back. They've intended to bring him back. But the wide receiver market has shifted, which makes it tough. So it's harder to do a deal now than it was a couple of months ago. And Brandon Aiyuk thinks that he deserves what all these top receivers are getting, and the Niners have a certain price point figured out. And the other thing to keep in mind here, I think he's playing this year for $17 million. And then after this year, if he were to be tagged, the number's like $22 million. And my math might be a little off, but it's not terribly off. So 17 this year, roughly 22 next year. That's 2 years, $39 million. So now when you start to sit down and figure out the guaranteed money, again, the franchise tag here is a weapon for the 49ers, which is not what the franchise tag was intended to be. But again, that's the 49ers' advantage. Now they can
that's not how the franchise tag was marketed whenever it was created. It was always supposed to be the weapon, Shefty. We know that.
Okay.
And he's right. Pat McAfee is right.
Of course he's right.
It was always intended to be a weapon, and the math was a little off. He's making 14.1 this year,
not 17,
and the tag would be 24.8 if that happened for next year. And then if they tagged him again, that would be 29.7. So it would roughly work out to about $22 million a year over the next 3, which is below, according to sources, what they had reportedly offered at 26 a year.
Yeah, it's below market value.
For sure.
But this is the point that I've been trying to drive home about Brandon Aiyuk. And for me, it's the reason why he's been so chirpy. It's the reason why you get a lot of Instagram stories. It's the reason why he's going to go on a podcast with Ryan Clark. It's the reason why he's going to hitch his wagon to Jaden Daniels and cruise all over town. Look, there's another quarterback. We're really good friends. Look, he throws passes too. You can do that all you want. I'm so sorry to say this, Brandon. You got no juice right now. I hear this from so many. He's done a good job of putting it out there to where I get this question. My daughter asks it to me every week because she loves the 49ers so much. She gets scared when her favorite players she thinks are going to be gone. And she goes, Dad, is Brandon going to leave? Brandon can't go anywhere. He can't. Now, the Niners, I truly believe, they don't want to do business this way. I'm sure they feel like they're being forced to do business this way. And to a degree, there are aspects of, as always, timing that play in here that are unfortunate for Aiyuk. The timing that's unfortunate is twofold. One, I believe that Brandon has gotten very starry-eyed by what has happened around him, and therefore the goalposts move, and the Niners probably didn't take well to that. Because Brandon has admitted there were moments where we thought we were a yard away from finishing this contract. And then other contracts started being signed for wide receivers. So he's certainly indicating that he's gone to the Niners, or his agent has, and been like, hold everything. The price just changed. Price went up. Well, the Niners aren't going to play well with that. Nobody likes to have negotiations move in the middle of negotiations. But the other thing that is going on is not Brandon's fault. It's not anyone's fault. The quarterback needs to get paid next year. And so the whole thing is going to change. And that's just the reality of the situation. There's nothing anybody can do about that. That's not the Niners' fault. That's nobody's fault. So am I suggesting Brandon should have to take way less? Absolutely not. But if Brandon thinks that he's going to swagger in here and be like, Justin Jefferson got 35, and I'm a badass, so you're about to break the bank on me. I'm sorry, dude. You don't have that juice.
Well, you don't have much juice at all because of your situation, and they've already picked up your fifth-year option, and so if you want to play football, you're a 49er unless you can get an extension, and then you're still a 49er, but you're probably more comfortable going forward. And just the way the math works out, and, the Schefter report going to the Pat McAfee show and breaking it down with the words franchise tag. That obviously, I mean, it's an obvious thing, but that comes from the 49ers.
Of course it does.
Hey, Adam, just so you know, we haven't used the tag in 6 years since Robbie Gold, but, we do have the tag.
Got the tag.
And we could use the tag. And if we use the tag, it comes out to about $23 million a year over the next 3. And, well, and I know that we already offered him 26, and Brandon probably wants closer to 30, which is what Amon-Ra St. Brown got as an average annual value. And, Adam even said that in the Pat McAfee show clip. The market has shifted. And, yes, the team knows that, and Brandon knows that. And if you're the team, you're probably thinking, oh, shift. We probably could have saved some money and saved a headache if we would have signed this deal before.
That freaked everybody out, by the way.
Well,
it was a sneak attack.
It was seamless. And
Sometimes
Granny didn't flinch.
No, I know. Sam's there too now.
Sam's not
flinched.
Yeah, he flinched.
I got you.
It might have been because Sam's hair hit you in the face. I couldn't tell if it was that.
Yeah, a little bit of both.
Anyway,
Totally. He's
ahead.
used to the O Schmidt, but instead I went with the O shift because if you are the Niners in Prague, that's how you're feeling because the market has shifted.
Yes.
It is a little bit disingenuous from a negotiation standpoint if Brandon Aiyuk originally had said, hey, 27.5 gets it done, and the team was like 26, and then all these other deals, pow, 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 and then Brandon goes, hey, 29. Or 30. I want Amon-Ra.
And he's not, by the way, I don't find that unfair.
It's a little unseemly, though. As you said,
it's not a great feel. I don't know if it's a bad look. I mean, Brandon's not wrong. He's like, wait a minute. So now I'm supposed to be the one who takes less, right? Now the rest of the wide receivers are going to be like, Justin Jefferson got 35. Amon-Ra gets 30. Why the hell did Aiyuk take 26? Why the hell did he do that? So I get that, but every situation is different. The timing for every organization is different. The Minnesota Vikings they're turning their quarterback situation over. They prioritize their wide receiver over their quarterback. I'm sorry, the Niners aren't going to do that. I can tell you that right now. The 49ers are not going to prioritize Brandon Aiyuk over Brock Purdy. They won't. They can't. They shouldn't. And so what do you do about all of that? I don't know, but I do know this. While I firmly believe the 49ers don't want to do business this way, they absolutely are in a spot where they can. And Brandon Aiyuk can ruin his career if he's like, I'm not playing.
He can also harm his career and ruin their season by coming in late and coming in.
But that's not on him. I honestly believe that's not on him.
Well, they report in a week. Today, the rookies report, and a week from today, the vets report. And I would predict, and maybe this is me going out on a limb, but I would predict if he doesn't have an extension, he's not showing up a week from today.
He's not showing up. Of course he's not showing up.
So he doesn't show up, and maybe this drags into August, and maybe he eventually signs, kind of like Bosa did 1 week before the start of the season. And he ends up settling for 26.5 a year or whatever the number is. And he's out of shape and disgruntled. Maybe he goes out and has a bad year. Debo had a down year when he signed. Bosa had a slow start when he signed. So it does behoove the team to get him in and get him happy as soon as possible.
Well, I would argue it behooves him too. Because again, like now, if you play poorly or you come in out of shape and you get hurt, well now you've really lost a lot of money. Now you've really lost a lot of money.
Because now you're assuming he already signs an extension.
Yeah, see, I hear you. But the other possibility here is that they're just like, Brandon, you've got to come play. $14 million, year 5, you have to come play. And Brandon can say no, but he costs himself so much money.
Yeah, tens of millions.
Close to $1 million a week. Okay, close to $1 million a week if he does not show up. That's number one. And then number two, you're heading into sort of free agency, and you would have cratered your value, and the Niners could franchise tag you. Like, if we really want to talk about what's at stake here, is there a lot at stake for the 49ers? Sure. There's way more at stake for Brandon. Way more at stake for Brandon. And so I don't love this for him. He's not wrong. I think he is worth $29 million a year. or 28 or whatever. Like, I do think he is a higher valued NFL player than Jalen Waddle. And what did Jalen get? 28 and a quarter? I think Jalen got 28 and a quarter. Does Brandon deserve more than that? I believe so. Is he going to get that? I don't know. And there are scenarios in life that play out that suck. That's just, and I sort of think Brandon is in one of them right now. But here is the other truth. Let's say he takes 27 a year, right? Dude, you're making that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. Wouldn't you want to do that rather than play this game of chicken with the 49ers that, dude, you're going to lose? That's the absolute unfortunate reality for Brandon Aiyuk. If you really want to play hardball, you're going to lose. You're going to lose a lot of money. You're going to lose a whole lot of everything. The vibe, that locker room, you're playing with your career here. So I'm not suggesting, because I hate doing this, go take less. I just know, I'll say it this way. If I were in his shoes and somebody was putting on the table in front of me, in addition to my $14 million this year, a new 4-year extension on the back half with $50 million guaranteed, and an overall value of that contract north of $100 million. Am I going to play chicken over that so that you give me another $1.5 million a year or another $10 million guaranteed? I'm going to put my whole career and earning power on the line for that? That feels like risky. A crappy bet.
It's very risky, and you'd be betting on yourself, but at the same time, you're playing the most violent game in this country.
Yep.
So it becomes risky. If he does that, if he plays hardball and they don't get a deal done, and he still decides, you know what, I'm going to come in and play for 14.1, and then I'm going to call your bluff in the offseason about franchise tagging me or not. Let's say he goes out and has another good year, and you get to the end of next year, and they do decide to tag him, that money is fully guaranteed, the franchise tag money. So he would get 23 fully guaranteed, and if they tagged him again, he'd get 27.5 fully guaranteed. The team doesn't want to do that. The team wants to give him a contract that they can restructure. That's what Parag Marate and the front office and the Niners do so well. They give you a contract that makes you happy. You play out a couple of years, and then you go back to the player and you restructure the contract, give them more cash up front, and spread it out over multiple years to help the team continue to be good around him. But job number one is to get him a contract that he's happy with. And if 26 is the number that's reportedly out there and he thinks that he deserves more than that, then it gets to be a little bit ticklish because he's not getting 30. Would 27 be good? 27.5? There's got to be a soft spot where the two sides can't agree on it.
Yeah,
because you're right, Mark. If you're talking about $110 million over 4 years, 48 of which is guaranteed, how do you turn that down?
I mean, again, is it the most fair thing in the world? Maybe not. Is it the right thing for you to do for your career? I got a hard time believing that it's not. Because, by the way, let's also think about the football here. Let's put aside the money. Let's think about the football. Let's say Brandon does want to play hardball. Even if he shows up, I'm going to play on the 5th-year option. I'm going to show you, right? And he has another good year. And he's like, okay, now what? Now I'm a free agent. And the Niners go, tag. Or as this plays out for another year or two, if they were to use the tag, what happens a year or two from now? Well, Debo is still under contract. Who knows what Pearsall is becoming? If Pearsall is a draft pick that starts to work out and feels good in a year or two, now who's got even more leverage? You know, now the 49ers are sitting here going, dude, we don't even feel like you're imperative to our team. That could play out over the next 2 years. I don't know if it will. I wouldn't have confidence in it. But Brandon is looking at taking the chance of not knowing how the roster will develop. Where's this going to go from here? What if Pearsall looks like a freaking stud? That's possible. And how does that change it? And I always feel like receivers especially. I mean, have you watched any of the documentary yet on Netflix?
Haven't gotten to it, no.
Listen.
How many episodes in are you?
I'm just 2 episodes in, but all you got to do is get to the second episode and you see another brick on what is a very large wall in NFL history, which is receivers who go, dude, I'm that guy. It's time for me to get my money. And they get their money, and they end up on a different roster, and they get there, and 3 games in, they go, oh, my God, send me back.
Devontae Adams.
Oh, my God. My life is in my hands on every throw. We can't win a game. Yes, I have $5 million more in the bank, but this hurts like hell. I'm limping around. Balls are flying over my head. I'm now going for 850 yards a year instead of 1,600. What the hell happened to my life?
He signed a 5-year deal for $140 million, $28 a year, but only $22.7 guaranteed. Devontae, what are you doing? And I know it was 2 years ago, but that was like the sticker shock number of $28 a year. That was top of the market, but it's that guaranteed number. So if you're Brandon, if I was Brandon, give me $26 a year. And I'm looking at a deal that was signed this offseason where the guarantee was huge. It was Calvin Ridley, 4 and 92. So he's getting $23 million a year, but the guaranteed number is $47 million. So of the 92, $47 million is guaranteed. That's more than half. If I'm Brandon Aiyuk, knowing this game is violent, I want the guaranteed number to be the big number. It doesn't matter what the average annual is, as you're seeing from Devontae Adams.
Absolutely. So, look, even the year before, he went for 1,500 yards in Las Vegas with the Raiders the year before.
Derek Carr.
Yeah. That's who he wanted to play with. Fresno State. Let's go west. It's Vegas. This is going to be fun. Oh, cool. This is about 1,500 yards. Yeah, we didn't win a ton of games, but, viable, whatever, tough division. Okay, what happened the year after that? Whoops, they traded Derek Carr to the Saints, and I'm going to die on every play.
Why is that, Mark?
Whoops.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Did you guys hear? I mean, I know you guys watched Receiver. Do you know the actual quote that Devontae said about the Raiders benching Jimmy Garoppolo? He said, quote, I signed off on that. Something had to happen for us to have a chance down the line and for me to remain a Raider.
Correct.
He essentially said, bench Jimmy or I want to leave.
And how many games in was that?
Oh, I don't know exactly, like 5 or 6.
Week 5, week 6. It was really emotional. Like his physicality was being challenged. He's like, I'm getting killed out here.
I'm fighting for my life.
Well, receiver is a different position. You are dependent on others. I know you're great. We can see that you're great. Devontae is absolutely one of the best. And Brandon is too. I don't know if he's Devontae, not yet. Like he hasn't achieved all of that, but he's a very good player. But my God, you can end up in a really bad spot really fast. And your career will not be the same. And the examples are everywhere, and you got to go get paid. I get it. You want to know from our Wayback Machine, the example that always pops to my head is Alvin Harper. You played next to Michael Irvin and you were a Dallas Cowboy and your numbers were phenomenal. And then it was time to get paid. And the Cowboys were like, no, you're our number 2 receiver. We're not breaking the bank for you. Alvin Harper then became a Buck. Never heard from him again.
I couldn't even remember where he
Gone.
went. Yep.
So, it sucks, but you got to be careful as a receiver. I love that he's leveraging the Washington Commanders.
Yeah.
The Niners were like, who?
Well, like you said,
your rookie quarterback is super scary over there in that awful organization. But Terry McLaurin literally 6 months ago said, boy, I wish I could leave and be on the Niners and be a part of something special like that someday. Just be careful what you wish for. That's all I'm saying.
And he doesn't have the ability to go out there and be a commander if he wanted to because the team has him on a 5th-year option. And so if he plays this year on the 5th-year option and the Niners choose not to franchise tag him, well, then you have a chance to go out there and test free agency, and maybe you'll find a suitor who will pay you as much as you think you'll get. But if you're the Niners and he has another good year and he plays on the 5th-year option, you're probably going to tag him.